Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation. Well, it's Friday Spirit Talk and Advice here at Wake Up with KC, and today we have again Mary. Hey,
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kim.
Now, last Friday we started talking about sex and orgasm and power. But I'd like to, continue that conversation, but we have to put a pause on that. And I feel like we need to go back in history, what the truth about what was actually going on spiritually and sexually, because there's writings about it. And then, my question is like, what happened? Why did things change? And then where we are at today, to get back to, it seems like it's coming back to we're coming back to how the origins of, sexuality and spirituality were before things got corrupted and converted and twisted and whatnot. So I want the spirit guides to help guide us and pieces of the history, and what we could do now to get back and understand about the power of the sex and orgasm. What do you think? Are you up?
Yeah, no, sorry. It just for a second, you kind of froze up for a second.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. Because I feel that, like most things, like when we go back in these conversations, we usually start at the beginning. Like, as far as it wasn't always seen and viewed the way that it is right now. We weren't always living as sexual beings in the mindset, spirit, mind, and body the way we are today. So for sure, a lot of things has changed. I think, I think over the years, just our human and ego minds, like everything kind of spiraled, as we know, in a whole different direction. Um, but it wasn't always. I feel you're right. I feel like I know it wasn't always like this. We viewed our sexuality and our bodies and intimacy with others in a whole different manner. And there wasn't always, I believe, a lot of confusion, distortion, guilt, shame attached to not only ourselves and our bodies and the functions of those bodies, but also in coming together in any kind of sexual, intimate way. All of that, I think, has just kind of been created over time and years with the ego consciousness, fear consciousness, religions had a lot to do with this. Just definitely gone a long ways from where it was. And I think the more that people do kind of wake up and are living more in spiritual consciousness, or just even shifting their mindset to look and think about things a different way, then we are making improvement. But I feel like it's still something that's a little taboo. Like even in the spiritual community, you still something you don't hear talked about a lot. You don't hear it referenced a lot. There's still kind of a stigma on talking about sex, the details of sex, our bodies, and having that connected to something spiritual. People still add a lot of shame or bad, or they only do that in secret or in the dark. It's still this weird mindset when really there's no reason for it.
I think it's just nonsense. But and also, if we all, you and me both were brought up in the Christian religion, and in what was written in that so-called Bible, they degraded sex.
It was, yeah, and yeah, absolutely. The mindset was that it's bad. Like it is in some religions, it was like this is strictly for procreation, and what a loss. what a loss. What that has done, that belief, that mindset does, it's just false. It's false. It's not true. It's not true information. And it's caused, I feel that kind of thought and mindset has caused a lot of damage and sexual frustration and behaviors,
Well, not only
that
that,
cause confusion and behaviors in people that maybe normally wouldn't have had those issues, had that subconscious programming from the time we're toddlers, and you see that little toddler in the bath, touching, exploring its body, poking, touching, and the parents, oh, don't touch that, don't look at that, that's bad, dirty. That's the first thought that we have about our bodies and our sexuality. The second we're able to explore, we're told bad, don't do that, it's wrong, it's dirty. And so right there, you're starting off with this poor little innocent human that's like, what is this? This is the body trying to explore it, is told that's wrong, dirty, bad. So you get shame, not in it. So we start off, a lot of us, maybe not everybody, but a lot of us, with that kind of first thing we get to know about our sexuality or our bodies, certain parts of our bodies, is that, oh, our arms and our legs are fine. But if we, all these other parts, bad, dirt, don't,
or
and it's like,
it's a sin to masturbate.
right, right.
And I'm like, who said so?
And it's falling trap to, when we ourselves don't know the truth, we pass down other people. We got to learn to have our own thought. If we're not sure about something, if somebody tells us and we're used to believing or trusting, whether it's our clergy or coaches or people that we respect, or family members that we want to listen to, I always say, get the information, find your own thought about it, explore that, find your own truth within it. Because as long as we keep taking down, hand-me-down and pass down information without finding out, is that feel or seem right or true to us, then all we're doing is repeating. It's like recycling the same piece of plastic over and over again. It's still plastic. Eventually you can recycle it as much as you want. And guess what? It's still plastic.
Yeah. And it's, going back in, I mentioned in the last one about the Anunnaki and whatnot, and how they were aliens from another planet that came in and stationed themselves. And then reading through what I read and everything, they were having sex among themselves and having sex with other human beings. And then there is some scripture about the Nephilims, because they were considered giants. And then if you look in, the history museums where, there's drawings and writings on the rocks in Egypt and Peru and all these other places, there are similar writings that talk about these, people that came from the sky and whatnot. And I'm connecting the dots and I'm like, wow, well, those writings are similar to what it says in the Hebrew scriptures, the Torah, the Quran, and in the Christian Bible came from those. So I'm like, well, there's some similarity in these stories. However, they're changing them in different aspects to tell a story in those times of how they wanted things. And it's just plagiarism and copyrighted material that they got this from. And then all of a sudden I done other research on timelines of who was lords and kings and whatnot, and they were having sex with the daughters and the nieces and even the nephews and the sons, because of the bloodline. So now you would think that would be incest back in those times, but then it keep passing on. And
The
then
bloodline.
and then it also was for dominating,
Right.
control
Right.
over women. That became property then, and that's mine. But then the men was like, I could have more than one wife and all this. And I'm like, where did it get so chaotic?
As soon as ego, mind, and individuality sets in, I mean, everything, that's springs from that mindset. The ego mindset is going to be about power, fear, control. Um, all of the things of the ego mind or the human, the physical nature that are important and that drive. But as soon as that is where it's coming from, everything's lost. It's going to create imbalances and unhealthiness. Um, but rather to merge, the human, to merge the human experience with a little bit more of some kind of a spiritual consciousness or a higher consciousness of thought can clear out a lot of the unhealthiness of, like you said, sexuality. Like it started as one thing, and then you could see it slowly turning over time. Oh, well, we can use this for power. We can have women. We can trade. We could, everything just started like going in that direction. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
I
then
think, yeah,
I was gonna say, and then they say, well, God's an angry God. God told to kill and rape and slaughter, women and children. And I'm looking at them like, no, that wasn't God. That was somebody that was reigning back in those times that was considered a god or a lord or a king. It wasn't God, the Almighty Creator, because honestly, I
um,
don't buy into that bullshit. Like, you got to be smoking a religious crack. You need to
for
sit down and
sure.
walk away if you believe
For
in that
sure.
shit.
For sure, and it's like, if you get the voice of God confused with the voice of ego, well, you're not in the right place anyway. So if you don't know the difference between the two voices, you need to listen to that voice a little bit longer before you start spouting off information you think that intuitively came to you. It's, yeah, absolutely no way. um I feel like there's so much awesomeness, power, and beauty behind not only the physical manifestation of ourselves, okay, which is this human form, this body. Amazing. Once we change the thought and belief about ourselves and our own bodies, then I feel, then we can take that out into our behaviors and our lives and share that with others. I am a fan of sexual energy, sexuality, um, that, as a woman, being a woman, and that goddess energy, where I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's awesome. But again, I have eliminated um, any old beliefs that I came in with, or any old programming. I got worked through all that, came to my own truth, and that truth, like it says, the truth will set you free. It sets you free. You find your truth, and then and it doesn't matter what area of your life we're examining, but today it happens to be sex and sexuality, which is awesome. Another beautiful energy. And I also feel that, the more that we're comfortable and the more people that accept their bodies, accept their sexuality, male or female, learn to love that, get rid of all the attachments and programming that was connected to that, whatever way you have to work through that, figure it out, go for it, because it's very liberating, to be able to be and have that not be a block, or so many people, or maybe at different times in our lives, sexuality, we've been blocked because of our old,
Belief
mindset,
system programming.
the programming that was been passed down to us, right?
And I think that's why people suffer with depression and anxiety, because they're in the they're still like in that closet. Because this has been going on. If you look at time, back in history, the soldiers like Alexander the Great, and even like back, well, that was like back in the Caesar's time, and then other, you know in history, they were having sex against sex, even in the priests back in those days. They were having sex amongst, male and male,
Right.
male and female. They were bi too back in those times.
Right. It wasn't anything like it is today, and they didn't view it. They didn't have it. It was just like, if sexual experience was sexual experience.
And it was just it, it dawned on me when I was watching a certain part of Alexander the Great. I was like, wow, the guys were having sex with other guys soldiers, and I was like, well, that's interesting because it's not even spoken of.
Right.
There's writings that talk about how Alexander the Great had a male lover. And I remember talking about it in a past when I first started this podcast. I'm like, so, the men had mistresses. So if, female, but if there was a male, would it be a mister or, just a, like, what would you call that? Some of the kings and lords had concubines. They had the queen, but
Oh,
then
they had all the concubines, and yeah.
and,
And group sex was performed regularly, what we would call orgies and stuff like that. That was just kind of what you did,
that it was like, wow, but no one talks about it. No one, because, oh, that was not good back then. It really what, and I'm like, how in the
Right.
hell do you know? Were you there?
It's like, exactly. Nobody knows for sure. But what we can clearly see is that, especially, I mean, I would say worldwide, for a lot of people, it's totally out of whack. It's totally out of balance. There's so much unhealthiness, so much fear, so much shame, so much just programming that's been passed down over and over and over again, that it's really up to us to have a new thought about it. And for the as parents, again, the more that we can learn, if for those of you who are still raising children or are in a position where you influence or work with youth of any age, the quicker that we have our own truth about it and have a healthy thought about ourselves and then about sexuality, the better, because we can pass that down. We don't have to go forward with the old programming and stuff. We can bring up a new talk, a new idea. Teenagers, especially all ages, but teenagers, I think, are the most misdirected and misunderstood when it comes to sex and sexuality too, because at those ages, what's going on with the mind and the body to begin with, I mean, everything about them becomes very sexual, and that's the ages where they are going to want to enter in and explore. Their hormones are going crazy, and the first thing that as most parents want to do is go extreme when it comes to raising children in the teenage years. Oh, all these extreme boundaries and rules, and and definitely not the body and the promiscuous clothing. And it's like, okay, I get it. Yes, all youth, they look to us for guidance, but they look to us for truth. So we need to be very clear about what that is, passing that down to others, because they're misguided. They don't know, but we do, and it's up to us to take that responsibility so that we have something new to pass down, something that's not old programming, something that's not going to get them to shy away from themselves. The first thing that I feel like it's such a big stigma to the real root cause of self-loathing and self-denial. The first thing is that when those teens or little ones um, uh, feel a certain way, but are being taught and told that is wrong and that they need to behave this way, there's this huge inner conflict that happens. They know they're now having to deny themselves to play out the role that we're asking them to play when it comes to their bodies and sex and sexuality. So there's this huge, already, people say teens defiant. Well, look at what we're giving them to start with. We create within them first such an inner conflict. They have a truth. They're experiencing what's going on in their body, their mind, whatever's going on. And we're saying, that's wrong. What you're feeling and experiencing and thinking is wrong. Deny the shit out of that and start behaving and thinking in a way that goes against everything that they're experiencing in their own body. So rather, you know what I mean? It's
and
insanity. We're passing
and you're like, and I'm like,
self-loathing. So then they shut down and they start thinking, well, something's wrong with me. Why do I feel this way? But I'm being told that that's wrong, dirty, to be denied, and to act a certain way. So then the self-loathing, there's something, this is all very subconscious. You know what I mean? Some of it becomes
Mm-hmm.
conscious to the teens and youth that are just learning about all this, but a lot of it is very self-conscious. Unconsciously, they start the subconscious mind starts taking that information and as something's wrong, something's bad, maybe I'm broken because I feel this way and I'm told I'm not to feel this way.
And would it be safe to say, because then, I come across views of that I'm non-binary.
Okay.
And I'm like, could that have stemmed with the confusion and the identifying of their true self? So they don't want to be categorized as any kind of gender now. And
Right. They
it's
want to be free to just be, well, because what if they change their mind? What if I feel I'm this way now, but in, a year from now, I feel like I'm more that way? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. That's a really good question.
because it has to stem from a root.
I
And
feel
then
like it
like
seems
the younger generation are now like
self-denial.
non-binary. I'm non-binary. I'm not, non-gender and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, why can't you just be who you are for right now?
Exactly. And again, I feel that it's a root cause of all this other BS that we've exposed ourselves and the youth to for generation over generation, over and over again. So their way of protesting is just going to say, you know what? Well, then I'm nothing. I'm not male or female. I'm not gay, bi, drag. I'm just whatever I am. Wow, confusion, self-denial again. That's not healthy and it's not freedom. I feel that what they're doing is they're missing steps and they're missing a point trying to break free consciously from stuff that they're this again. The guidance is go within, find your truth, and be okay with that truth. If you're a female and you feel like a male, or I don't know what goes on with the minds and the chemistry, or I don't know what happens with I haven't worked with enough people that think that way to have an opinion on it, but I'll tell you intuitively what it sounds like to me is just like everything else. I feel like it's a cry for help. I feel like it's because there's something else going on, and maybe there's truths they haven't discovered within themselves yet.
And it saddens me. I'm like, and then here on a scientific, if a lot of people struggle because they don't know their identity.
That's
They
exactly
haven't
it. It's a loss
they
of
haven't
identity.
connected, and majority of people, even today, even from me growing up, it's a false identity of who they are, and they struggle. And to me, there's a piece to the puzzle. If you can, take away religion, take away society, and even political aspects
Yeah.
of programming and whatnot, and then get in touch with the like going inwardly and whatnot, and get in touch and finding like
Well, the
who
true
am I?
identity, you're right. I feel like in one you're talking about where they just have no idea what they are. They call themselves, what did you say the term is?
Non-binary.
Wow. That's what we've come to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've come so lost and so separated from who you are and the knowing of who you are. They're totally disconnected. They're disconnecting from themselves. They're disconnecting from their bodies. They're disconnecting, and it's sad. The journey should always be not out but in. Um, when wanting
But is it
healthy.
going to start? Is it creating even more problems? Because now you're identifying yourself as a non-binary. You don't want to be called a male or a female. You change
It
your
is.
name. And I'm like, how is this going to affect you later on? Like, are you, you're just like, because of the trend, this is what's been, when did this even get created in the first place? But I mean, okay, I understand there's transgenders, cross dressers, or you want to call them drag queens. Then you got lesbian and gays. Okay, but now it's like those are basic, simple little things as I can identify and relate to. But now it's like you get this other stuff in, and I'm like, why are we making it even more complicated? Either you want to be straight, gay, bi, les, cross-dresser, drag queen, transgender. And that makes it a little like you're identifying with something,
Right.
either feminine or masculine, whatever. You're like, there's some of them that I feel that really, and I'm noticing this with the male energy, they want to tap into the female energy. So they like that feminine aspect. And I'm like, go for it, because
Mm-hmm.
you need some balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because think, if, yeah, I mean, God, what we call God, spirit, creator, that energy is neither male or female, but it holds within it the total of all. So you can get from that feminine energy, you can pull the masculine energy through. It is a combo, and we are an extension of that. So are we? Yes, within us we hold masculine and feminine characteristics. We should pull, even as women. There's times when I have to really pull the masculine side of me forward to accomplish and get things done, in a different way. And I do that. And then there's times when I'm much more on the feminine side because I need to do more nurturing, or what. So the combo exists in all of us, and people who maybe don't know or don't know how to tap into it. And if you're gay, you're gay. It's if you were born in a male's body, but you feel like, no, I have this knowing that I should be female, go for it. But still, that does not change the fact that even if you are living as you still want to balance the masculine and feminine energy from time to time. We all do. Um, but yeah, there's something there for sure. I think there's a root cause. There's something there that says, why are we spinning out? And I don't want to say spinning out of control, but why are all these changes spiraling so fast in that kind of thought or community when it comes to body, sexuality? Oh, I'm just gonna say I'm no gender. Well, okay, uh, you know. So yeah, that's a real sense of loss of identity. Even if you wanted to identify yourself, you could just feel that there's missing pieces to that when people say that. Even hearing the words, I don't feel that it's something healthy. I feel like there's misinformation or misguidance involved or attached to that decision. If that's what these people, some people are saying. Um, yeah, I say go back. You got to find out what that root cause is.
And then you got to go by pronouns now. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, you guys are just making this so more complicated. And
It needs to be.
why can't we go back to some simplicity here?
Exactly.
I don't mind if you want to, you're a female wanting to tap into that male energy and, you know, dress more masculine and, and then change your name to from a girl name to a boy name, you know, kind of thing. I respect that.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
just, and then it's like when I go to, innocently, because I still, I can't deal with the change of, pronouns and dealing with people. And it's like, I get like anxiety because I'm like, I'm just trying to be me and have a normal conversation. And if I say, I don't do the pronoun or whatnot, they people get offended. And I'm like, why are you getting offended? It's not that I'm intentionally doing this to harm or hurt. That's not where my intentions is.
Right.
And I feel like it's escalating to even more problems later. And I'm
Oh,
like, be you, the greatest expression of yourself, but understand that, if you want to be instead of a she, a he, because there is a he with the she. If you take the S out, comes a he. Hello.
mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh my, like, wow. I just really do not know how, to me at first, I want to fix the freaking problem to where everybody's happy. That's my
Right,
first, like,
right.
my first instinct is like, we gotta fix this. This is like, oh my God, this is good. And I'm like, how do we? Like, how do we, where did this get created? And then how can we fix it to where it's all good for everyone and everybody's happy? I just think,
Yeah,
I have interesting
that
conversations with
makes who
them.
knows how many lifetimes for that. And besides, we're here to work it all out. But yeah, that would ideally that's it. Um, but I guess there is a part of life that provides the contrast.
I know, because we live in a
We want to
duality.
put it,
I
yeah,
know.
we want it all to be like happy because that's our nature is loving and happy. Um, but I definitely feel that the more we can accept, the more people accept their bodies, the more people that accept that sex and sexuality, and that every single part of their body there's not one part of the body that is less or more than any other part of the body. The body is the body, and it should be valued the same way. We
Right.
should have a good, healthy value upon ourselves and the functions of our bodies, our heightened sense of sexual energy or sexual attraction towards people, or wanting to pleasure or please ourselves. Again, like you said, there was a lot of stigma on that, and bad and shame and guilt. And I'm thinking, okay, how can things that feel so good and give you such an incredible experience, again, there it comes down to bad, shameful, dirty, or wrong?
Wow.
It really
And
is the mindset that the consciousness that we give it.
oh, and then, to grow up, oh, you gotta wait to have sex until you're married. You gotta stay pure.
I
What
know that
a
was tough because
hindrance.
then talk about sexual control. It's like I, you know, you can find a spark of truth. Like you could find a spark of truth. Like, okay, yeah, we can understand why in some angle why somebody might say that to somebody else, but that's not the way. That's not the intention. It was there for control. It was there to program the mind and to program people a certain way. The intention was not like anything other than that. Um, but yeah, waiting. It's like why? Like,
I
what is the purpose? What does that serve individuals other than to give them a spiritual mark that they most likely won't make? Then they can see that they're a failure or something's wrong with them. So we just instill and reinforce that programming once again
yeah,
because if you don't make
but
that mark,
and then, on top of that, you
that
get
you're
the
unworthy somehow, or that now you're impure, or that so then,
yeah, but
so
then
it's
those
just
same people that preach that behind a, you know, podium or whatever you want to call that,
wherever, right?
yeah, and that they'll go in behind closed doors and have sex with young kids, but yet you're teaching them that they gotta wait until they're married. That
And
shit fucked up. I'm
or
sorry.
right,
Why
and
would
then
I
also
buy into
preaching
that
that
religion if that's been going on since the Christian religion started?
it's been going on too long. Catholic, Christian, whatever, all these religions that just really do a lot of damage when it comes to sensuality, sexuality, sacredness. Like sex is never included in that, and yet, yeah, why all these weird perversions? They all stem from the same thing. When you deny yourself, your self denial is the worst. I feel because if you unconsciously or consciously deny yourself, you're setting the self up for all kinds of unhealthiness because those are going to be stemmed from cords, corrupting cords that go within you and just you're going to have the guilt, the fear, the shame, self-loathing. I'm dirty, I'm bad, I'm not worthy, I'm not good. So it sets off this chain of events within that just gets deeper and spins more of control until you're, either acting out in strange sexual behaviors, or you're sitting, in a psychiatrist's office wondering what the hell is wrong with me? Or you're in prison because you've acted out in such a harmful sexual way and done damage that you're locked up and thrown away. But all of these there's all symptoms of self-denial when it comes to sexuality, our bodies, and our sexual instincts, desires, and behaviors. Over time, there may be people that are born that way. I can't explain everything that humans go through. I don't know about the psychopaths and these, people that I don't know, that's a whole nother talk show. But what we're talking about mainly, like mainstream, is all of these things could have been avoided or can be changed. And that sexual energy can be funneled in a healthy way, which starts with themselves. Knowing that they're not wrong, they're not evil, they're not dirty, they're not going to hell because, all these weird things. And it will change as we start to change and as we start to enjoy, love our bodies, accept our sexuality, accept our sexual desires and behaviors, in healthy, as we're healthy, any aspect of our life is going to become healthy. And, over time, I feel like we'll start losing all the unhealthiness. Most sex crimes are, I believe, come from this. I feel that the desire for whatever they're trying to explore or get through sex or sexual behaviors that become harmful or overstep other people's boundaries can be, I feel like a lot of them or most of them probably would have been avoided. It comes from a deep within separation, a self-denial. If we start changing that, we eliminate that desire, those things, to be a rapist, to go out to harm somebody, to have such an urge that, oh, I'll go to hell, so I might as well molest this boy behind the church doors. All of these, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. There's a lot of evil. The evil in this world comes from the ego mind and the misprogramming that we continue to perpetrate within ourselves, or, over and over. That's what causes all this stuff, I feel and believe.
Yeah, because it's emotional, energetic traumas that keep passing forward. And if you look at your
and one of the
lineage, it goes way further back.
Right. And I do believe that. You look in some of these places, and not to get off on like a lot of different topics, but if you look in different places where sex and sexuality, other countries and other cultures where sex and sexuality was never looked at or thought of the way that we do, look at their sex crime rates. Look at any violence, anything that has to do with sexual crime. Look at the numbers are much lower, much lower than, say, our country. Other countries that have provided districts for drugs and sex, things that are so taboo that we try to lock everybody up and throw away the key over. Other states and countries are, I'm not saying this is totally maybe the right way, or we're still not getting to the roots of things, but even creating districts and areas where that's okay, and they actually provide healthcare and nurses and staff that say, if you're in here and you're doing your sexual activities, prostitution, drugs, things like that, hey, you come to this area, we have staff on, you're not going to OD, we're going to give you clean bills of health so you're not just spreading all these diseases. When you start to look at their numbers of sex crimes go way down. So there's absolutely, without a doubt, there's a link between the programming, self-denial, and the behavior.
Right. And, from my own sexual experiences.
Yeah. So now we can get into why we feel so differently about it.
Yes.
Well, first we threw away the old beliefs.
Well, one, I started questioning. I'm like, there's something wrong with this picture. There's something wrong with this whole things that I was and it was just like my conversations that I have with, you want to call them God, Tao, whatever, greater intelligence,
I
and
know.
having
Yeah.
conversations with my higher self.
Oh yeah.
I get the best advice sometimes when I do that.
Yeah, because we're getting like real information.
And, when I first had a, it, it wasn't just sex, it was this experience that included sex, but I've never experienced it before. And this is
Mhm.
before I had the channeling part.
Right.
And then after, we were done and everything, and I went home and whatnot. I was like, wow, like that was like the most beautiful, amazing experience. And I was like, well, to me, it was like, that's not sex. I remember saying like, that's not sex. That was something even more than that. And then it was like, I guess the guides, spirit guides were like, that is the pure bliss of
Yes.
connecting with all this time you were taught that this, and you experienced sex like this because you thought this is the way it
Right.
is. However, now you experience this new thing. And then they explain like sex is a synergistic energy exchange. You happen to came into um someone, another being that's not quite on the same level as you, but recognizes that connection.
Yes.
And it's not that you're supposed to, you were talking about earlier before we went live was, oh, when you first start dating, you feel all these feelings and all it.
We're in.
you, Now I've learned, okay, I got this feeling, and what am I supposed to do with this? Why am I getting this feeling?
Mhm.
About that person, before I go to that next. Because then it might be I just have a message, nothing like
Mhm.
the physical sexual aspect.
Right.
And it's a learning process. You recognize your gifts and you're like, okay, what's going on? You know? And you know, a few years ago when I called you up, I'm like, what the
Oh.
fuck happened to me? I started like I reached this amazing orgasm, and then this light with electricity coming through, and I could see myself on the bed convulsing, but I'm also seeing on the other aspect of what I'm seeing, but my eyes are closed. I'm convulsing after an intense orgasm, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then later, it just became another orgasm, intense orgasm. Then I started channeling these beings in a whole nother language I never heard of. And I'm fucking blowing up your phone going, what the fuck happened? What's going on? Why am I experiencing orgasm?
Please tell me what's happening. Yes. And what's super cool is, like you said, it opens when we allow ourselves to open up like that and have that experience. When we open up and just go into our sexual experience, who knows what's going to happen? Some of my some extremely powerful spiritual experiences have happened to me while in the act of sexuality or having sex or entering that experience with somebody. So yeah, if we think that, again, the thought is that somehow sex is separate from God or godliness. As soon as that old belief closes, we remove that. It's like we can open ourselves up to experiencing sex and sexuality as just wide open. We can open that door up to have the experience, any experience we want. And I want to get this out there to everybody. Sex, any kind of sex, as far as health, as long as we're not hurting, harming someone else. I'm talking about healthy sex or just the idea or desire for sex. I'm not talking about unhealthiness and abuse and stuff like that. In this context, I would say sex of any kind is, first of all, it's okay. I want people to know it's okay. First of all, to have the desire, to have the thought, just the human aspect, just even the human aspect of just having this overwhelming feeling of pleasure or wanting to please, the sensation of just wanting to have sex, all that. It's not bad and it's not wrong.
No, it's
on any
not.
level.
And guess
If you
what?
meet someone randomly and it turns hot and heavy, I say go for it. Put yourself fully in that experience in that moment. Let the mind go of all the, let all that go and explore and have the greatest adventure with yourself, sexuality, providing it is safe.
Yes, safe and
non-harmful,
responsible, safe sex, and it has to be consensual. Yes.
Well, right. I'm talking about we'll talk about the other stuff later, but as far as like me and you, just people, or the average people who aren't gonna rape or molest, do something harmful or against someone else's will or boundaries.
Yeah, no.
Setting that aside.
Let me tell you something. You wouldn't need to do
people
that.
Have limitations because of taboos they hold against themselves in sexuality. That's to be clear that's what we're talking about. I say go for it. I'm telling you right now, I love myself. I love my body, and I love sex. I love sexual energy. I love sexuality. I dance naked in the rain. I am not afraid of being naked. I'm naked most of the time. I don't like wearing shoes unless I want to dress up pretty, then I love shoes. Flip-flops and bare feet is how I roll most of the time. It's like all of that stuff. I love it. I masturbate regularly. I love having orgasms. There is no weirdness left with me, my body, sexuality, who I channel that sexual energy to or with.
You know what I realized? Like a lot of times now, I'm a swinger, and let me tell you something. I've had the most amazing experiences. Now I haven't channeled lately, thank God, because I told them. I said, I can't be going to these swinger parties and channeling these. They don't have no idea what I'm
Right. Like this is just for fun.
I'm like,
for fun and spiritual energy starts like
I just want to explore and have fun and enjoy sex.
Yes.
I love, like, recently went to a swinger party, me and my partner, and there was a pool party. It was down. I was the first one to get undressed. I forgot my bathing suit, but I was like, I'm at a swinging pool party, so I guess it's not really needed. And and I was the first one to get undressed, get in that pool, and I was like enjoying myself. And there was women, there was men, there was couples, and for once, because I'm vaccinated, it's just a few, people, and for once, out of all the times that we have swing and whatnot, I was mainly with couples or men, and I finally got to be with a woman.
And how was that?
Pleasure. I was just so into the energy and that connection that I had with her that I was just enjoying her.
It's like everything else disappears.
I was just, wow. The guys were like, holy shit. And they were like, want to participate in some aspect. But I just I tuned in, and it was just that energy. And then it was drawing other people too. And I was like, holy shit.
It's yes.
But it was like, I enjoyed it. And then I got to be with another woman, and then a woman got to be with me, and then I got to be, with my partner, and then we were with another, it was just pure bliss, pleasure. everybody's energy was so, oh,
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
And those are some, yeah, and to be able to have that experience, it wouldn't have mattered if it was just you and your partner or in the environment you were in, but you opened yourself up, put yourself in a position to allow yourself to be right there and enjoy that energy. Like there were no, at that point, there were no old thoughts it was like you could come into that exactly who you were, and it's energy and feel and ever notice, I like how you were saying like it drew so many other people in. And we'll think about this even on a smaller scale. Ever notice when you're just feeling really, maybe you're feeling a little sensual, maybe a little alive, frisky, whatever, even just going out and about and running your errands, have you ever kind of noticed how people just kind of look or are drawn or talk or stuff? Like I notice this stuff when I feel a certain way, my energy is a certain way. I notice the different things that are happening around me. It's the same thing on a smaller scale. Energy is energy, and this is how we attract and push things away as well. I know this is all kind of intertwined. It's fun, but that's the same thing. You and you pick up on other people. When you see that woman walking into the department store and she's got that vibe, everybody notices.
Oh yeah.
Or male. It doesn't have to just be female. It's just I'm female, so. But yeah, you'll notice just like there's something like that person's holding a certain energy, a confidence, or a little playful or frisky. There's an energy behind that, and people, without necessarily even realizing it, people start attracting, being drawn to that.
I love like I'm like one, you said earlier you love yourself, you love your body, and I'm like, I am a spiritual divine being. I'm a sexual being in this female human form. And you know what? I embrace it. I fucking love being me. And I'm going to do what I want to do, be with who I want to be, wherever wherever I want to be as many times as I can. We only live once. Live it now.
That's the biggest thing, is to fully be wherever you are. Part of this is that we are here for, I don't care how many lives we're going to have or have had, it doesn't matter. This is the one we're living now. So this is the most important one, just like you said. And this is all. We even if we come back or what your beliefs are on lives, you only get this specific one once. So we need to be in joy with it. All of it. Not some of it. And you know what I really like in, again, one of our favorite books that we always quote, Conversations with God. But God talks about that, that energy being in everything, in the profane and in the profound, in the ugly and in the ungodly and the godly. That God is in all of it. God, if we believe that that God is everything and or the creator of energy is, we're all part of it, and the oneness. Well, guess what? That includes everything.
Yeah, everything.
Everything.
And you said how you like to just be in flip flops and, and every now and then you like to wear shoes.
Oh, I have fun
dressing up. I like
fun.
Sexy lingerie and the sexy outfits, and I walk around. And when I dress up, I feel that energy, and I walk into a room, and I'm like, I walk into that room like I fucking own this place, and I'm a goddess, and you know what? I'm gonna get fucked tonight, and that's my whole energy. Especially when I want to get my partner's attention, I'm like, I'm like, honey, and especially when we do go to play, I'm like, I'm gonna wear these shoes, I'm gonna wear that outfit, I'm gonna do my hair this way, and I'm like, I'm already getting myself to, I'm gonna explore, I'm gonna experience something amazing and wonderful, and I'm just gonna enjoy the moment that I'm in now. And I'll listen to the music, and and it's
amazing. And then that awesomeness of having, it doesn't matter what level, let's just say you're just doing it on a physical level, that is perfectly okay. We're allowed to go out and just be physical. You can have sex without it meaning anything. I want people to know it's not bad. I don't care, even if you're, but it just depends, as we grow and evolve, our ideas and our ideals about what we want to experience, just like anything else, will change.
Yes. Because if you want just a one night stand or one quick hookup,
nothing wrong with it.
No,
We are not, listen, you're not going to hell and nothing's happening to you. You
no.
know, there's been times when it's just like I said, you know, like you
And
said,
you
when
know
that
what? The
sexual
thing,
energy gets going.
and
And
you
I've
know what?
watched, yeah,
The like you said early, just a few minutes ago, just something just hit me. You're young. You really have no idea what you truly want and desire, even in a partner yet. So go and explore and play. Hello,
yeah.
practicing sex, and whatnot, and and use common sense as well, but enjoy. You never know. And then
And
as
you'll find your likes and dislikes as you adventure out onto your sexual journey, which we all should be on by now.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like anything else in life. Sex is not separate. You know, it's like you'll find out your likes and your dislikes. And those will change as you grow and evolve and or do different things. It's going to change, even in being different. Like what I probably enjoyed at 20, or what my thoughts and outlook on sex and sexuality at 20 is definitely going to be different at 40. Because I'm a different person at 40. I maybe know and want and have already experienced my likes and dislikes. And so the physical aspect of it, you know, um, but there's something about when you share that space with somebody, when you enter into that sexual connection, there's a connection, things going on. Our energies are literally our physical bodies, our energy bodies are coming together. It can be an amazing experience if you allow yourself to have an amazing experience with sex.
Well, you're talking about 40s, and I'm in my 50s, and it totally made a drastic, not a drastic in a bad way, but a total shift. I actually I'm falling in love more with myself than I've
Right.
ever had before. I'm enjoying being with people, and I have to give kudos to my current partner because he opened up the door. I guess he wasn't brought into my life to help me explore other things about myself that I never really, or I might have hidden, but now it's come and I just have it in a whole new, I look at it in a whole new perspective.
Yes. When we look at that, you look at that versus where you were before you met him and just the changes. And I feel like if we allow ourselves to enjoy sex and sexual, I feel like a lot of it is just opening up and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, because that's a very vulnerable thing. First of all, especially if you're with a stranger, some people can maybe withdraw a little up there, and it's a new person, and you feel vulnerable, if you're not secure with your body. So again, like everything else, get comfortable with yourself, love your body. It doesn't matter what shape it is. Listen, we can always change we can make the changes necessary, but love it as it is, because if you're not loving it as it is, it's not going to go away or change. You have to love it. Okay. And I would say to people, if you're learning or wanting to get less vulnerable, start with yourself. Like, do a lot of self touching, playing, get comfortable being naked with yourself, look in the mirror often, masturbate, get to know, about yourself and your body, because then you'll be a lot less vulnerable when you decide to drop your clothes and enter into maybe a stranger or someone you don't know that well, and not have all those self-confidence issues again, you know going into the sexual experience. Then you can be there fully, you can show up without being, feeling any specific certain way, and you can just be present and enjoy.
And then when you say talk about in the mirror, and if you don't like what you see, love yourself for where you got yourself to be, but then you can start changing the looks and the appearance that you don't like about yourself, but still
Right,
love
because
yourself.
that's
Because
right.
and it's a process. And then I was talking to somebody, another guest, and he said what is it, the dad bod. He's trying to lose the dad bod. And I was like, well, go and find a picture of yourself where you felt your best, that you were happy. Get that picture out. What does it look like?
Yes, to remember.
And
And
I told him, I said, He goes, well, I think I could do that. I'm like, because you know what? When you go back to look at that picture, you're going to remember how you felt looking that good, feeling
Right.
that
And
way.
it'll start
So
producing
print
that
out
feeling.
more copies of that. Put it in your bathroom mirror. Put it on your refrigerator. Put it in your visor. Put it wherever you are to remind you to bring that energy back. And you're working within yourself,
Hmm.
you know, and
Absolutely. It's
and
perfect.
it helps you reconnect to that part of you that because of
Felt
chaos
you
or
like you
whatever.
lost.
Yes.
Right.
And
Right.
you'll fall in love with yourself more in the process. You
Right.
start
In the now.
changing, little things will start to appear and show up, and you'll start changing the way you eat. You'll start changing the way you do things when you first
Yeah.
recognize that.
Yes. Yeah. It's perfect. Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
and then let me tell you something. When you're working on your inside, as you're working on the outside, and as the transformation appears, and then you look in the mirror, and then you're liking what you're seeing, the results coming forth, your
Exactly.
confidence and your God sex power for your sexual drive will fucking woo! It's gonna be fireworks.
I know. I know. Sometimes I think about like the way people, I'm like, you ever look, watch people. I like watching people. I'm a people person. And when I go out and about, I'm always watching. I'm a people watcher because it's just fun. I don't know. But yeah, you look at people and it's like the way they behave, like, or the way they eat their food, the way they drink, the way they do just the things. And it's like, man, you should put as much attention, focus, and passion on your partner, the way you do your food or other things in your life, the gym. I'm like, my God, that would go from here to here. Like I wonder if they're that if they eat the same way they have sex, like with that passion or that drive. It's like I don't know. I get a little out there. I'm kind of silly that way, but I can't help it. But I like for me, like the idea of like I love to just like and just I don't know. I just love the aspect of you know just like having that energy flow freely with my partner, and then also, but I will also I'm one of those people. It's like I want that. Yeah, I want there to be constantly be this like desire, this
Uh-huh.
yeah, this whole
I
like
pay attention
oh,
to the senses that are going, my feeling, the touch, the smell, all of that
all of the senses.
during
Right?
sex. Like, I'm tuning into my pussy, my nipples, and then his body or her body, and just the
People can
smell,
just
the essence, and
enjoy
just, you want to talk about that's igniting passion. It's intensifying the passion when you can tap into
that
your
passion
own
is
being
so
and
important.
every sense that's going on, all the senses going on, and then you tap into it's almost like tantra sex, but a whole nother level.
Oh, it's beyond,
Because
yeah.
you're doing physical things, but you're tapping into, you
Such
know,
an energy.
their sounds, their moans, their body language, their oh my God. It's just oh my God. Now I'm getting
Yeah.
horny. Holy shit.
Doesn't take much, does it, Kim?
No.
See, for people like ourselves, all we have to do is talk about it and think
Well, I'm
about it.
gonna text my man now.
We're already there. It's like, whoa.
Oh God. He's in for it when he gets home.
Oh, yeah. What time does he get home?
Probably around I have a 6 o'clock interview, so it'll probably be later on.
Good. Let it build up.
Oh yeah.
Build it
It's
up.
I love the playfulness and the toys.
Playfulness is. I love playfulness, and so we gotta think of like you said, sexuality in a playful way. Have fun with it.
Oh yeah, and I
Have fun
got
with it.
outfit, honey. I
Yeah.
role play. I
Yeah,
got
well,
my
we know
clients.
you do. I'm talking about to everybody else out there. We know we do.
Have fun,
We
play,
like
be
to have fun.
creative.
Playful. Nothing like and where you do it. Let me tell you, one of my favorite places to do it is in nature. Having
Oh,
sex in nature, just raw, throwing it down on the sand with trees and who knows water. It's like up against the tree. I don't know, in the tree, wherever you want to go. But nature is one of the most fabulous places to have sex. Just a random, just not random, but just a, spontaneous is the word I was looking for.
Well, yeah, but you got to be careful about the mosquitoes in Florida. So, yeah.
Listen, when you're in that energy, you don't feel nothing. Afterwards, you may have to like calamine up and put stuff on. But you know what? It's worth it. It's well worth it.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll paint myself pink with calamine if I got eaten by the bugs, because I guarantee I'm not feeling it at the time.
No.
I'm just having fun. Like, it's so hot. You're like, damn, this is happening right here, right now. This is awesome.
I had like spontaneous sex.
I don't care.
Spontaneous sex. I had outside late at night, and it was like, oh my God, I love this.
Oh, spontaneous is the best. And let me ask you this: have you ever been offended if anybody were to wake you up in the middle of the night, your partner wake you up in the middle of the night and want to do it? So any of you are out there, male or female, right? If it ever has, well, I don't want to wake you up. Please wake me up.
I keep telling him, like, hey, you need at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
It would be a very rare occasion if I were to ever say no. Well, I mean, I would have to be like having a fever or like
if I'm
kind of an emergency,
injured or something. But just you got get some lube and just get it ready to go and stick it on in through the back door, baby. I'm all good. It'll be a nice like, ooh, what is this? All right, And I like morning sex because it's a great way to start your day. And then at the end of the day, you have sex.
Mid-morning
because
sex.
It's the best way to relieve stress.
Afternoon sex. After coffee sex. Night sex. Beach sex. Kitchen counter sex. Back porch sex.
Oh, on the washer and dryer. On the washer.
Hey, in the ocean.
Especially when it's going through the rinse cycle, getting, intensifying.
Lifeguard stand. I mean, when it's closed at night.
And an elevator.
Ooh, spicy. Lots of mirrors.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
What else? We got to think of, there's more. I mean, as much as your mind can imagine, so is there through sexual experience.
Oh, yeah.
And the energy body that we create, that whole energy body that we create through our passion, spontaneous or well thought out and designed sexual experiences, because they're all good.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about it, plan it, design it, surprise, like a little sneak attack.
Yeah.
When they don't know what's about to happen, and they're like, what is all this? What is this? Oh.
And the foreplay. Oh my God, the foreplay.
Oh, here's the big thing. A lot of people, please remember foreplay is awesome. I don't care if you do it all day to get up to that point or just a couple hours or just a few minutes. The foreplay is amazing. Don't just go. I mean, you can go straight to it. That's fine. But the foreplay, I agree. It's the best.
Little dirty touches, little pictures.
Just soft to, just whatever. Yeah, just like, oh, did you just look at me that way? Wonder what's on your mind, to, oh my gosh, did you just kiss me? Like in the middle of the day for no reason? You're awesome.
Yeah.
Like something's brewing here. Then I'm like, okay, then I'll give a little flirty nudge, and then I get a little nudge back, and it's like, this is going somewhere.
Right? Oh my gosh. Well, we gotta continue on to other topics, but this was good.
This is good because no matter what, even if we get silly and share our own experiences, I think one of the biggest things that I want people to know, and we can, you already said this last week, people can email you or write in if they have specific things, and we can answer questions and stuff. But ultimately that sexuality is not separate from anything else as from the human experience, and it should be enjoyed and expressed without all the dysfunctions that we have. So as we're healing ourselves, as we're growing more spiritual, looking to have more joy and peace and comfort in our life, don't take every part of your life and exclude the sex or sexuality, because then you're still missing a piece. It's a whole, and it should all be looked at. It should all be enjoyed, explored, and deprogrammed, just like we deprogram ourselves from all other things. Don't disclude sex and sexuality as being part of the whole and part of your experience. So when you're looking at doing these changes and you're working on growing or healing things from the past, make sure that you include sex and sexuality. It's a big one, and it's had a taboo on it forever,
Centuries.
just about. Yeah,
Yeah.
forever. And all of those little things that stem from it. I say, if you really want freedom and liberation, find your truth, start to explore, start to get out of the old programming, look, learn, um, get a new and healthy idea about your body, about your sexuality, and then be able to take that and enter into fun, spontaneous, or well thought out sexual experiences. It's your preference. It's to each individual. But I think the most healthy thing is not to forget sex when you're talking about healing your life or getting your life on a new track or having a new thought or doing the unprogramming or deprogramming and healing work. Don't leave that vital part out, because it'll come back up as a part of you that wants to be whole later. Or you'll find that you continue to have issues. I know we have to wrap this up, but another thing that comes from it is, dysfunctional or unhealthy thoughts and beliefs. Watch what starts to happen. A lot of people that have problems in sexual organs or sexual or parts of their body that store and house those parts. Women, we have breasts and we have vaginas and we have our sexual organs. We have fallopian tubes, we have uteruses, and for men, it's a whole different set. But when we end up having problems in these areas of our bodies, go back and look for those. Often can also be signs that there is healing that needs to take place. We don't have to live with unhealthiness in just those areas of our body. Usually there's something there that's trying to be expressed, released, or looked at. And when what we deny or resist or walk away from, will persist.
Yeah. And
What we look at, what we're not afraid, as soon as we look at it and are not afraid to face it, what happens? The boogeyman doesn't come out and hit you on the head and eat you. It disappears. Those things go away as we are willing to look at and address them. And then, you get healthy and those things go away, and you can have, healthier relationships with yourself, with others, and then allowing that sexual energy and the sexual component of who you are as being human to come in just as healthy as the rest of you. And I feel that, as we work on these things, we have to remember sex and our bodies and sexuality is just as important to be looked at, healed, dealt with, and then explored. And then most of all, get to a point where you enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it and you haven't enjoyed it, there's a reason. And you need to look at that, find out what's going on, heal that, and move on. Yeah.
And it's like, I keep talking about emotional energetic traumas and why people, females and males suffer from, like, with sexual, like, dysfunctions and having problems with sexual organs and whatnot.
Yes.
It's some of it could be something that you created from a trauma, an emotional energetic trauma, or something that you took on yourself, or also it was passed down.
Someone else's,
Because you were in your mother's womb, she was in her mother's womb, so there could have been something, emotional energetic traumas that wasn't dealt with. Now you got it, and if you dealt with it, what if that was the root of why you're dealing with what you're dealing with? It's just an emotional energetic trauma that needs to be dealt
released.
with, be released, and you could heal, and then wow, what a difference it makes in your life.
That's
and
right.
People don't understand those emotional and energetic traumas. It changes the epigenetics of you when you deal with that. And I know people that study this, have done research. This is what they specialize in. And it really comes from centuries that's been passed down from our ancestors.
Right. Exactly.
So I encourage, if anybody has any questions on it, reach out. You can reach out with Wake Up with KC on Instagram or email me, wakeupwithkc@gmail. If you have a question for Mary, just put it in. Hey, I have a question for Mary. Can she help me with da 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 da? Whatever it is, we're here to help. This is why I do this Friday spiritual talk and advice. So if you want advice or have any questions, just reach out. And we're wrapping it up. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and get spontaneous and let's get it on.
Let's talk about sex.
Yeah.
And let's get it on. Definitely. When I got that feeling, I want sexual healing. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I just want some sexual healing.
Yes, baby. Let's get it on.
Think about when you go back in your life, you think about all the different places. Like, wow, you start thinking about like from the first time you had sex all the way up to the present time. It's like, wow, there's been a lot of, just like some different memories start flooding back and experiences.
FYI, the more sex you get, it's anti-aging too.
Oh, it produces hormones. It's totally anti-aging.
So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, if I could get as much sex as I can, I'm gonna keep going, baby, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's so
as long as I got it in me, I'm gonna keep doing it.
You want the fountain of youth? Have lots of sex. Enjoy sex.
Yes.
I think that's the fountain of youth.
There would be more peace on earth if everybody was enjoying sex.
Oh my gosh. You think about the release when you get it. And you're just like, oh my God. You're just like, I feel amazing. Like I could take on the world or I could just take a nap. Either way, you just feel good. All of a sudden you're like, wow, look at that.
High, drunk, stoned, all wrapped up into this one, and
it's like the ocean
state. Oh my God, you just
two things. Yes, two things that are extremely real. Attitude adjusters for me.
Yeah,
that are instant. The ocean and sex. If I'm a little off kilter or I'm a little crazy, two things need to happen. One of two things. Either I need to get my ass in the ocean or to the beach to where I can touch that water, or I need to have sex. When's the last time you've been laid? Well, I masturbate almost every day, but
Well,
sex is still different. It's more grab. I mean,
yeah. But just to get that,
to get in that energy.
I got Sam, which is a strapless dildo. And then I got the butt plug. And then I got Bob, the battery-operated boyfriend. So there you go. I know mine.
That's who you got named first.
Hey, I get creative with my toys.
Never mind. This head can go some places sometimes. I don't know if it's necessarily recordable information.
Yeah,
that might be behind the scenes.
No, text it to me later. I'll get a laugh.
No.
Well,
yeah, I don't want to get too raunchy, but it's kind of fun.
Gosh.
Playful. It's all in fun. It's all fun. I mean,
it is.
We already, one thing that we'll wrap up, I know we have to wrap up, but when we were talking about, there is something so powerful, that energy, we could use that energy of orgasm, that energy of, we could learn how to use that energy for creation in our life, draw off that energy from more passion. It doesn't have to go into sexuality. Passion needs to be a part of everything you do.
Yeah, and it's part of the connection to the creation of manifestation of, good things.
I mean, you have a really powerful orgasm. I swear sometimes, you could be opening portals. You could be like shifting multidimensional, things are happening all the time. And I feel that intense flood of energy or opening up of energy, who knows what amazing things are happening or that you're creating with your life in that moment, right?
Well,
that's powerful energy.
To be honest with you, I mean, granted, I'm having fun and I love sex. Like, I'm a ginger. Hello.
I'm just Mary, and
I try. Like sometimes I get so caught up in the moment, but then I remember, like, if I can, like, this energy is so powerful, and I know there's healing elements. So when I get to reach that ultimate orgasm with whoever I'm with or whoever I'm swinging with, I'm like, I remember like creating a visual of this energy just exploding and expanding all over the planet Earth and everybody.
Yeah, see?
And that's like where my intentions are. Is like if I could get this power just to start, just explode and ignite, and then just go to everybody, and everybody could feel what I feel. Like our planet would be so much better. So that's like where my mind
Yes.
is and now that I'm swinging and everything, I'm like, oh, they could help me. They can help me expand this energy for peace and love and joy and healing. And
Right.
and I just shared this with the whole fucking world of what my intentions are when I'm having sex now. So there you go.
For
So
healing
join me.
world. Peace,
Start
love, harmony.
doing it. We could all do it.
Yeah. Include that.
In that. Put that intention out there that when I reach the orgasm, I'm spreading love, peace, and joy to humanity in this planet.
Exactly. Setting those intentions just like we would with anything else, any other area of our life. Those of us who already know and set intentions for a day, for specific things in our life. Yeah, again, let's make sure that we're including
I go big.
sexuality.
Humanity on the planet.
But that's how we do it. Whether we're focused on that energy through, meditation, rock climbing, sex, orgasms, it's the same. When you get that energy going, we should have an intention for it. Why not?
Yeah. So
pave the way. Pre-pave with your energy ahead of time. That's an intention. Pre-paving, setting ahead of yourself. What kind of what path you're going to walk into that day.
Wow.
Amazing. We're amazing beings, and we're amazing, powerful energy beings. I mean, we're so powerful, and these are some of the awesome ways that we get to experience our own power, that energy power. For instance, like with orgasms.
Oh yeah,
I mean, what not a better way? I mean, can you think of a more fun, exciting way to feel such a powerful source of energy?
Oh yeah.
I mean, God knew what He was doing.
Experience it.
Physical, it was to be human beings.
Well, once you
and the fact that we would ever
outlook changes.
And the fact that humans would ever look at that or distort it into being bad, dirty, when it's probably the most enjoyable experience that we can have by being physical.
Oh, yeah.
It's the pleasure of the body. I mean, when I'm talking more sexually.
Oh, yeah. So I encourage you, enjoy sex this weekend. And everybody, just have sex this weekend.
Exactly. Enjoy yourself. Tap in.
So we'll have more conversation.
Get playful with your partner or with somebody. If you don't have a partner.
Even if it's a one-night hookup.
Right. I like to have a partner.
Don't practice safe sex. Use condoms.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're hoping that people listening to this are taking it with common sense and some form of healthiness behind it.
All right. Well, that's all for now. Thank you, Mary, for joining us. And we're going to have more topics to share with. And you never know what we're going to talk about on Spiritual Friday Talk and Advice. So,
well, exactly. Like people open it up and then they hear, what? Sex? Like, yeah. The mind needs to start putting the two together. Quit thinking that sex and sexuality is separate from spirituality, because it's not.
Nope.
It's all spiritual.
Yep.
And physical at the same time. So
it is. That's why we're spiritual beings, sexual beings inside of a human being. We have that physical aspect of it. Hello.
Yes, and we should just enjoy all of it.
That's what I'm doing.
If you're not enjoying it, find out why. And if you can't find out why, find someone else that can help you find out why.
There you go. And that's We're calling it a wrap. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Kim. See you next week.
Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation.